Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name is Attempster. Today I'm going to be going over part 5 in the Project FPS tutorial series. Now in the last part what we did is we got this script over here going which lets us change weapons. If we go into wireframe we can see what we're doing. So we can choose a different weapon and then our player will pick it up and then we'll swap like so. So that's what we did in the last tutorial, made all of this here. So if you haven't already, go ahead and watch that. But apart from that, in this tutorial what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting into the reload animations for our primary and our secondary weapon. Now there is one thing that I'm going to sort of slightly cut down on in this tutorial, and that is basically the complexity of the reload animation. So as you can see here, the reload animation is quite long, very complex, lots of different movements, and basically if I just was to try record those, it might be maybe an hour of just animating and tweaking for one weapon and then another hour for the second weapon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use a simplified version, so I'm just going to do a really quick reload animation that's nice and simple. Just so it doesn't take forever and then it will be super boring to watch as well. So that's what I'm going to do. Again, if you want to, you can feel free to spend as much time doing these animations as you want. But again, just from a tutorial standpoint, I don't want to be spending too long doing something that we don't really need to spend very long on. So with that said, I'm going to get straight on into it here. So I'm going to select my rig, move this window across, change it to dope sheet, and then I'm going to scroll along here and we're going to actually choose M24 and then we're going to click the plus here. Then what we're going to do is delete this here and we're going to rename it to M24 reload. And then what we're going to do is this first frame here we do need, but the second frame, frame 20, we don't need. So we'll go over to animation and remove animation, or remove keyframes. Also what you could do is otherwise just in this window here, A to deselect and then Control K to select those two keyframes and then delete them just like that. Okay, so on frame 20 I'm going to make sure record down here is on with this key selected as well. Then what I'm going to do is scroll along here to update, go to frame 20, and then I'm going to go over into pose mode, select my gun bone, and press Alt R to get rid of the rotation. Then I'm going to go to layer 2, I'm going to select all the parts of my main weapon here, M, move to layer 1, go over to layer 1, and then select the gun spawn, Shift S, cursor to selected. This one here, Shift S, selection to cursor. Alright, and what we might do is press Ctrl Z, undo that. As you saw, it actually added in a keyframe for the weapon, which we don't want. So turn off record, and then Shift S, selection to cursor. Then we'll parent it as well, so hold down Shift, select the gun spawn, Ctrl P, and parent. So now that all moves as one. Then what we're going to do is turn record back on, select our rig, go over into pose mode if you aren't already, and then we'll get started on our reload animation. So I'm going to go over here to textured, then I'm going to press numpad 0 to go into this view, and the first thing I want to do on frame 20 at least, well actually now we can remove this, so remove that keyframe because we've parented the gun. So we know it's at a straight angle with no rotation. Alright, and then so the first frame I'm going to put on frame 20, then I'm going to hold down Shift. Well, first of all select the moving bone here, hold down Shift, select the gun bone, hold down Shift, and select the other gun bone. So that all moving. Then I'm going to go into my camera view and just rotate them like this. So they're looking towards the player RX. Rotate it on the x-axis and then move it up slightly. Okay, maybe we might as well move it away from the player like so, just so we can sort of see what he's doing. And then on frame 20 as well, what I'm going to do is well, looks like something's gone weird here. Oh, not to worry, just the shoulder. So select the shoulder and move that forward. Might need to do that for this one as well. Alright, numpad 0 and something like that looks good. On frame 20 I also want this hand here to actually grab the magazine. So what I'm going to do is move it down, and then we might as well hide the player again. So select the player, H to hide, and then select the moving bone and RZ, rotate it on the Z axis, and actually RY, because he's going to have to be almost holding it like that. Okay, so RZ, GY, and now we need to unravel his fingers slightly. So that one there, this one, and this one. Alright, so yep. Oh, I'm not sure what happened there. GX, GY, and we'll just sort of get a simple animation going like that. Alright, again, lots of tweaking. The more time you spend here, probably the better the animation will look. But again, because this is a tutorial, I'll probably be doing it as fast as I can. Alright, so I'm actually going to go into solid view so I can see what I'm doing. Or what you can do is go over to textured and change the light here to hemi. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, so the hand is almost there. What we might do is move it in slightly and move it in the back here. Then I'm going to select this bone, the thumb, move that forward, and RZ to rotate, and we'll just move that out like so. Double tap Y and we'll rotate it like this. Then we'll just rotate like that, should be fine. Then I'm going to rotate this in so it's touching almost, I guess. We should probably, no, that should be fine. And then this back here I'm going to sort out. Okay, and then this in here, just turn the fingers in a little. But apart from that, that should be good. So select that. Well, once you're happy with how the player is holding it, what we might also do is move it down. So double tap Z, and if that's going in the right, nope, double tap X, there we go, and I'm just going to move it down. Okay, so then I'm going to press A to deselect, A to select everything, and then I, and insert. Now at the moment we could just leave this on record, but then when we change other things like the gun bone, then the animations start getting a bit messy. So we're just going to insert all the keyframes all along here, and then we'll clean them up afterwards. As you can see, his hand almost just morphs to the magazine, which isn't good. So on frame 10 I'm going to move his hand out like this and move it along here. Numpad 0, and there we go. So he grabs it properly. Okay, like that. Then there might be another issue. Yeah, you can see his hands inside the magazine. So making sure you're on frame 20. I'm going to double tap Y and rotate it around, and then move him forward again. Something like that. Alright, so I think that is good. Just pulling it out and catching it like that. Then we'll have him pull it out. So on frame 25, because this will be a fast animation. So what I might do is have him pause for 5 frames, and then the other 5 pull out the magazine. So here I'm going to press A to deselect, A to select everything, and then I. Insert keyframes, go to frame 30, and then what we might do here is also get him to get a better grip, just slightly, so we just want a little bit of movement, not a lot. And also we might move his hand out just a bit. Okay, and then numpad 0 again, and on frame 30 we're going to select this, press G, X, and X again, and then we'll move it down, maybe this way as well. Alright, as if he's pulled the magazine out. I'm going to move it this way. Then what we also need to do is animate the magazine here, so M24 mag. So to do that, we're going to go to frame 25, where it's still sort of still, and then we're going to press I, and that will add an action as well, and add in some keyframes because we have record on. Then we'll go along to frame 30, and then here we'll move the magazine down. So I'm going to press G, Z, and Z again. Hope that's the right thing, and it looks like it is. So move that up a bit. GX, GY, and GX. Okay, so something like that looks good. Now what we have to do is sort of like refine the animation. So because it's moving quite fast, it can be inaccurate. So what we might do is skip along to frame 26. Just make sure everything's in order. You can use the arrow keys if you want, just to sort of skip between the frames. As you'll notice, it sort of goes inside the well, almost gun here. So what I might do is just move it a bit closer again. So I'm going to press GY and Y again, and just sort of move it closer. Then I might also, on frame 26, select the arm, or the moving part, and then GY, GX. Okay, and just have it holding like so. Numpad 0 again, and that looks fine. So grabs it and then pulls it out. Okay, so we can just play. There we go, and that looks fine. Then what we're going to do is over here we'll have a pause. So what we might also do before we do that is have the gun here sort of half animated. So on frame 25 here, I'm going to maybe move it up slightly, so RY, move it up like that. Then also the hand here I'm going to have to move to adjust. So G and then double tap Z, nope, double tap X, move it up here. Okay, so as in he's gone, grabbed it like that. On frame 20 we might do some tweaking, as in just pulling it back a little bit. So yep, I'm happy with that. And then as he pulls it out, I want the gun to almost follow the action. So on frame 30 I'm going to select the gun bone and then just rotate it down again like that. Okay, and so now it'll sort of get pulled down with the magazine. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we'll have to readjust this. Maybe if we'll just move it this way slightly. Okay, so double tap Y, nope, double tap Z, and maybe just one tap. There we go. Then what I'm going to do is can scroll along, see how it's going to work. What we also probably needed to do is animate this one back here. So frame 25 or frame 20, you can see that sort of gets pulled up. So maybe we'll do the same here. Oh, RY, hold down Shift and move it up a bit here. Then that will add in our keyframes, frame 30, and then RY again, and hold down Shift and just back here. So there we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. Then we'll have a pause, and then we'll have him put the magazine back in. So pause might be 20. So as in that pause he's grabbing a new magazine. And then what we're going to do is press A to deselect, A to select everything, and I. And on frame 50, insert lots more keyframes. Then we'll go along maybe 10 frames here, and we'll just get him to put the magazine back in. So what we might do is almost copy these keyframes here. So go to frame 25, in this window, A to deselect, Control K, making sure you're on frame 25, then Shift D and GX, and then we'll move it along, so GX35, and then enter. Okay, and then that should put that in there, so you can scroll along, see how that's sort of going to work. We'll also have to do the same for this right here, so select, well, back into object mode, select the magazine, and then on frame 50 we're going to have to press I so it remembers the same location. Then on frame 60 we're going to duplicate frame 25, so A to deselect, Control K, Shift D, GX, and then we're going to press 35, enter. And so now if we scroll along, put it back in, and then we want him to go back to rest position. So now this doesn't need any more animating, so that should be fine. I'm just going to go here, select the moving bone, and I'm going to copy frame 20, I think it should be. So A to deselect, Control K to select everything, then I'm going to press Shift D to duplicate, and then GX, we might make it 40, I guess. 40, no, we'll make it, we'll just move it over here because we want it 5 frames, so 45. So GX 45, and then enter. Okay, so it ends up over here, and then we want the last one here. So A to deselect, Control K, select that one keyframe on frame 10, and then Shift D, GX, and we want to move it to 70, so just 60, enter, and that will move it 10 plus 60. So now on 70, and then what we'll do is on frame 0, A to deselect everything, Control K, Shift D, GX, and then 80, enter. And now there we go. Again, the more time you spend on this, the better it's gonna look. You can do a whole bunch more stuff to it. You could have the player pulling back the pin here, and again you do the same as with the magazine here. You just animate the pin going backwards and forwards like that. So I think, or you'd have to double tap Z, no, double tap Y, so GY, and then you can, yeah, just animate that going backwards and forwards along with the player's arms, as I sort of did in the original demo. Again, this animating stuff just takes so long, it's not very suitable for tutorials, but again, it's up to you how much time you want to spend on it, and yeah. So I'm happy with just the simple animation we have here of putting the magazine, pulling it out and putting it back in again. If you want to, on top of that, you can have him pulling the pin and loading in a bullet, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that for this. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm happy with that, so I'm going to select my main body here, press Alt P to get rid of the parent, then I'm going to move it, turn off record, move it over here, Z to go into wireframe, select all the parts, M, and move it to layer 2. Then on layer 2, we'll move it over here, then we'll select all the parts of the gun, M, and move to layer 1. Go to layer 1. Then what I'm going to do is select my rig here, and go over to object mode, and now what we want to do is select the Glock, and then I'm going to click the plus here, under Glock change, and then I'm just going to call this Glock reload. Then I'm going to select the F here, and then also what I'm going to do is go over to the M24 reload and select the F there as well. Now one thing we forgot to do is clean the keyframes, so to do that, press A to deselect, A to select everything, scroll along here, go to key, and clean keyframes. So that will just get rid of all the keyframes that we don't need, or any ones we haven't animated. But it looks like we have actually animated most of them, so that is fine. Then what we're going to do is go back to, what one do we want? We want Glock reload, and then we're going to get that sorted out. So frame 20 we don't need, again, remove that. Then instead we're going to scroll along to update, go to frame 20, pose mode, gun bone, Alt R, get rid of the rotation, back to object mode, select the gun spawn, Shift S, cursor to selected, select the gun itself, Shift S, selection to cursor, and then we'll hold down Shift and parent it to the gun spawn. Then what we'll do is we'll go back here and then go back to pose mode, and now if we update, the gun will sort of move with the gun bone as well. So numpad 0 here, and we're going to do a similar thing. So back into texture mode, and then what I'm going to do here is go to frame 20, and I'm going to have the, well, first of all, I'm going to select everything, well, just the moving parts here, and then I'm going to press RZ, rotate it this way, RX, and then RY, and RX maybe a bit as well, move it up here, and sort of, yeah, just have it out the right side of the screen. Then this hand here will be pulling out the magazine, so get this moving part, and we sort of want it, yeah, pulling out the magazine from there. We might also have this thumb here pressing the button here, which I'm going to guess releases the magazine. So yep, maybe we'll just almost rotate it around, then move it, nope, move it in that direction, so down, double tap Y, and then if we can, we'll select this and Y, and we just want to almost get it over that center there if we can, so we might need to move this forward, Z, double tap Z, and then Y, and double tap it as well. And so the well, the thumb here is pressing on the button like that. Then that should release the well, the magazine here. And then what we'll also do is go back into this view, and it is looking slightly mangled, so I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. Maybe that way. Maybe just RX. Okay. And RY, RZ. There we go. Okay, so that's looking a bit better. This one is going to be catching the magazine, so GZ, GX, and that will just be catching this when it falls out. So numpad 0 to check it's looking fine. These fingers are going to need to curl in a bit, so I'm going to double tap X just to curl them in. Okay, and maybe the same here, except double tap Y, maybe. Just something that works like so. Okay, so maybe something like that. Then what I'm going to do is have the magazine falling out. So before I do that, A to deselect, or A to select everything, A to deselect, then A to select everything, and then I insert a keyframe. Then the magazine falling out will be relatively fast, so maybe 10 frames, and then we'll also have his hand sort of underneath the screen here, so sort of like that. Y to rotate it down a bit, and then again we need to animate this magazine here. So to do that, I'm going to go to frame, I think it's 20 where we start. I to insert the location and rotation there. We'll also select record down here just in case, and then on frame 30 we didn't have record on, did we? Okay, oh well, so just move this back down here, RY. Alright, and then we'll select our magazine, then move that down as well inside the player's hand, hopefully, RZ, and GX, RY, GX, GX, GY, and there we go. So RX, GY, and yeah, I'm happy with that. G double tap, we'll try Y, there we go, and something like that is fine. Now we'll polish up the animation, so frame 25 is probably where it's gone off, and so I'm going to double tap Y again and just make sure the player is holding it. We'll also need to check around here. As you can see, it's sort of gone a bit strange, so maybe RZ or R and then double tap Y, and maybe R and double tap X. No, that's not working. Okay, RX, and we just sort of want to get it back in there, so maybe just GY, RZ, and then RX, maybe double tap Z, Okay, and that's looking a bit better. Magazine's falling out like that, that looks fine. Then on frame 22, it's gone nuts again, so we might skip to frame 23 and try get that one sorted. So again, move it this way, double tap Z, rotate it, move it this way again, GY. Alright, so like that, and then no, there's still a problem on frame 22, so again, select the magazine, and move it, I guess, this way. If we double tap Y, double tap X actually, there we go, that's looking a bit better. And so now it falls out like that, and numpad 0, you can see what it looks like. And yep, so he pulls it out like so. Okay, what we might do is on frame 25, maybe we'll have this fall a bit further into his grip, so GY, double tap Y, and then move that like so. I might actually, for frame 22, have him holding onto it a bit more, so we might move his hand up, the moving part, and we'll just wrap his fingers around it, like so. If that wants to work, RZ, and move that one out. Alright, oh great, this one's doing weird stuff. Yeah, let's just hope for the best. Move that one round, move that one round. Okay, and just so we can sort of, yeah, make it look like the player's actually holding onto it. Alright, double tap Y, and somehow that should be fine. This action is relatively fast, so it should be okay. Then also, you'll notice his hand here morphs through the other hand, so on frame 10, we're going to have to move it back and move it out, like that, and so his hand will move out and then grab it. Maybe we'll need to move it out a bit more. Move it up a bit. Okay, there we go, that's looking a bit better. And then we're doing a pause again, so for 20 frames, A to deselect, A to select everything, I and insert a keyframe, select the magazine here, and then I to insert a keyframe as well. Then we'll go to frame 60 and select the rig, then A to select everything, and we want to copy and paste frame, I'm going to say frame 20, so A to deselect, Control K, and then Shift D, GX, and we want to move it 40, I think, yep, 40, and then enter, and so now he'll put it in like that, and then we want to copy frame 10, so A to deselect, Control K to select that one keyframe, Shift D, GX, and we'll move that to frame 70, so 60, and then enter, and then the last one, A to deselect, Control K, Shift D, GX, 80. Then we'll do the same for the magazine, so all the way back here, the magazine, then we'll copy and paste frame 25, so A to deselect, Control K, and then Shift D, GX, and we'll move that 30, so GX 30, and then frame 20 we want to copy as well, so A to deselect, Control K, and then Shift D, GX, and we'll move that 40, and then enter. Okay, and now if we scroll along, he'll pull out the magazine, then he'll put it back in. Again, you'll notice some slipping up, so we'll go to frame 57, double tap Z, I think it is, and then just sort of move it back into the player's hand a bit more. Okay, and then over here, this is sort of where the problems are. Double tap Z again, GX, nope, G, double tap X, move it in, and maybe we also need to double tap Z, rotate it out a bit, double tap X, move it closer, like that, and then this frame here, 59. Yeah, just some more rotation. Okay, so I think that should be fine. Well, we might actually animate the gun bone as well, so we'll almost have the gun sort of fall down for frame 25. So we'll select the gun bone, which is here, then we'll hold down shift and select this other hand and then press RY and rotate it down a bit like that, and yep, that should be fine. We might need to, well, yeah, pulls it down, and then as you can see it goes up, which is strange. Anyway, so down and it goes up again, and then when this impacts again, we want the gun to go up. So frame 60, and we'll want to press Y again to sort of give it a bit more movement upwards. So there we go. Now this magazine here we have to sort out as well. This part is a bit sketchy. Frame 25 definitely, so double tap Y, bring that back up, GX, okay. Then frame 30, that's a bit all over the place as well, so I'm going to move this over here. Then RY, GY, and then GZ, move it down, GX, and then GY. Alright, and then double tap Y, move it down, and I think that should be fine. Now we'll go back to numpad 0 over here, and then we'll just sort out these animations. Frame 55 just needs some movement this way. Frame 57 needs some movement this way. Alright, frame 58 might need some more movement, maybe just rotation this way with GY. 59, double tap Y, nope, double tap X, I'm gonna say, yep, move that forward, and just so it sort of looks from a player's view like he's putting it back in. So yeah, something like that. Then here, frame 60, and that should be fine. I'm also going to select the player's arm and just move it up here like that. Okay, and then frame 70, and that's looking good. So now we can play it from start to finish. Okay, and that's looking fine for me. So again, here is when you can elaborate. So in the demo as well, I had the player sort of tilt the gun backwards and then get this extra part and pull it backwards and forwards. To do that, I think I'll turn record off just for now, but I think double tap X, nope, double tap Y, double tap Z, and I just had that go backwards and forwards like that. So again, if you have extra time to spend on doing that sort of stuff, then feel free to do so, and that again will add to the quality of your animations and make the player more immersed. But again, just for tutorial purposes, I'm going to try and keep this nice and simple. So I think that was about it for this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment or share. All of that stuff is greatly appreciated, and be sure to subscribe for more videos. Next tutorial we'll be getting the reload timers and that sort of stuff going, and then also the ammo count, and then sort of resupplying that. So but yeah, I think that is about it for this tutorial. So again, hope you enjoyed the tutorial, have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next video.